Welcome to my class today. Today my class is on self-introduction and assessment. My name is Dr. Vandana Vig. I am working as a professor at TIMET, which is a college of TMU, that is Tirthankar Mahavir University, Muradabad. So friends, today we are going to discuss about self-introduction and assessment. Self-introduction, as we all know, it's a very common topic and it needs no explanation as whether it is the social background or it is related to the professional scenario. Everywhere a person has to introduce himself or herself. In society, when you meet new people, then you have to give your introduction. In professional world, if you join a new college, if you join a new organization, or if you join a new company, anywhere, wherever, you have to introduce yourself. So here comes the role of understanding what is self-introduction and how do we craft self-introduction, then how are the what is the importance of self-introduction and how we can avoid the points we can avoid in crafting an effective self-introduction. Along with this, we will also discuss the how a self-introduction is being created for social meetings, and on the other hand for professional meetings. In both the cases, the self-introduction has a different pattern. So we will be discussing both these things as well. Self-introduction for students, because I will be giving you a format of self-introduction so that in case in your future endeavors, wherever required, you can utilize that format. So first of all, let's discuss about the learning outcomes. What are the learning outcomes of self-introduction and assessment? Yeah, the first one is develops communication skills in order to convey information clearly and concisely. Yes, this means once the student, the learner, because I generally, the person who's studying, the person who's learning is generally referred to as students, so I frequently use the word students, but we can call them learners also. So the learners, the first is means after learning, after going through this class, the learner will develop communication skills in order to convey information clearly and concisely, means information about one's own self. It combines of information at professional level, it combines of information at personal level also. Then second learning objective is the learner will be able to create self-awareness of one's strengths, weaknesses and personal experiences, means he will be able to highlight, means when we introduce ourselves to others, we tell the other person about our strengths and about our weaknesses. Then the third outcome would be the learner will be able to the learner will be able to develop more self-confidence, means the self-confidence of the person will be boosted by practicing speaking about oneself in front of others. When you are well prepared with something, when we are well prepared with anything, we become all the more confident. Means if we compare two situations, one situation is that without preparation, when we are asked something and we ask some typical question and we have to think and give the answer. So there we can get a little nervous, we get a little self-conscious. But once we are well prepared with any topic, whatever we have to speak, then we become all the more confident. And self-introduction, it boosts our confidence, we become overly confident, we become strongly confident because we are speaking about ourselves. It's not any information which we are taking from or we have gathered from some other source. And the next one is facilitates networking
facilitates networking in professional and social backgrounds, in social settings we can say. So what happens that when we give a good self introduction, we are able to develop a network, whether it is our social relations or it is on the professional ground. And lastly, teaches the importance of making a positive first impression. So from childhood we have learned one thing, that is first impression is the last impression. We have always learned that. So the first impression which is created by a person, it lasts long. So with the help of good self introduction, we are able to create a good first impression on the others. Now, what is self introduction? A self introduction is a way to present yourself to others, means how we present ourselves to others. When we provide an overview of our own strengths, our weakness, our hobbies, our interests, our likes, our dislikes, what we are doing, what are our academic qualifications, what are our professional qualifications, when we give an overview of all these things, that is called a self introduction. What is the purpose of this self introduction? The purpose of, obviously we have already discussed that the purpose of self introduction is that when we want to establish an understanding, when we want to establish a connection with the others, then at that time we give a self introduction, means we introduce ourselves to the others. We introduce ourselves to the others because we want to connect with those people, because we want to create a good impression on others, because we want to add them to our network and to be added to their network. And in professional scenario, wherever we go, whatever we do, the organization which we join, so first time when we go to an organization or when we meet a new person, we have to introduce ourselves. So this is the purpose of self introduction. Importance of a good self introduction. The importance is, first of all, impression, means as I have discussed earlier, that a good self introduction, it creates a good impression. A good self introduction creates an impression on others, means if we are able to introduce ourselves, means if we have prepared a good introduction and we give it to the others, then the person is impressed and it will be beneficial, means to create a good impression, whether it is the social setting or the professional one. The second one is at the professional level, it creates all the more, it is all the more important because at different places, at different levels, at different junctures of our professional life, we need to introduce ourselves. Means whether if we join a new company, then also we have to introduce ourselves. If some new boss or some new colleague, anybody comes to our company, then also we have to give our self introduction. So this is what is the purpose, this is what is self introduction. So first thing which we have discussed is the impression, that how we can create a good impression. The second one is building connections, means networking, when we have to build connections, whether it is a social setting or a professional scenario. So in both the cases, in building connections, we need a good self introduction. And last is professional advancement, means it is very essential for our professional advancement, means when we want to rise in our profession, when we want to go to the heights, go to higher designations, then also while giving interviews, while giving presentations, we need to introduce ourselves. So the next is how to craft an effective self introduction. How to craft an effective self introduction, that is, start with the basics, means first of all, whatever we want to do in self introduction, if I have to prepare a self introduction for myself, or if you have to prepare a self introduction for yourself, what we'll do, we'll start with our basics. And what are the basics? The basics are, what is my name, what is my where I belong to, what are my habits, what are my academic qualifications, because I am going to mix both of them. I am going to mix about self introduction, which we have to give in a social setting as well as in a professional setting. So I am talking about general. I am talking about general. Otherwise, so later on I am going to categorize both of them separately. Means self introduction at a personal level and self introduction at a professional level. So that we will discuss later on. So here we are going to discuss general self introduction. That means we have to tell about our basic, what is our name, where I belong to, what I do, what are my hobbies, what are my interests. So all these things will come under the category of the basic information that I give about myself. Then second point is structure your content well. That is, you need to structure your content well. Means what things are to be placed where. That needs a lot of attention. Means first we have to write the name, then in some cases we require to tell about our father also, father name or husband's name, and then where I belong to, and so after that means what I do. Means if I am a working person, then in the professional level, if I am at the professional ground, if I have to introduce myself, then I will be telling about my academic qualifications. Then I will be telling, and I will be holding, I will be telling the position I am holding in that particular company, and what are my duties that I am taking care of, what are my roles and responsibilities that I am taking care of, and then what are my achievements, and then my honors, achievements, and what I have done. So what the number of the years of experience that I have. So all these things means one by one: name, date of birth, then the place I belong to, nationality, then it is my academic qualifications, then it is my professional qualifications, then my hobbies, interests, and my years of experience. So this way we are going to categorize. This way we are going to list our contents of the self introduction. So this comes under the category of the structure, that how we have to structure the content. Then the third is stay calm and composed. Don't be nervous. The first key of a presentation is, whichever form of presentation it is, whether it is a PPT presentation, whether it is an oral presentation, or it is even a simple thing like self introduction, one should not be nervous. We have to stay calm, composed, and confident. Then the next thing is strike a balance between personal and professional aspects. Means when we are introducing ourselves, then we need to strike a balance. Means we have to tell somebody, means at the personal level, in a meeting, in a social setting, in a meeting, let's say I meet somebody, so there I am going to tell things about myself, then I am going to highlight a little about my profession also, like this is my business, or this is the company where I am holding this position, I am doing this job, I have been here for so long, and this is my job profile. I will be telling this a little. But on the other hand, when it will be, because at the personal level, at the professional background, at the professional scenario, then in that at that place, I will be talking more about my profession, where I have worked, the number of years of experience I have, what are my roles and responsibilities, and what are my achievements. So all these things will take more space in introduction. Weaknesses, we need to highlight both our strengths also and weaknesses also, but there are ways how we highlight our strengths and how we highlight our weaknesses. Means our weaknesses, strengths, obviously everybody knows that we can highlight our strengths. I have done this, I know that, but then we have to keep in mind that it should not be boasting, that we are boasting about us. Okay, our tone has to be very cool, our tone has to be calm and low when we are talking about our own self. But on the other hand, when we are talking about weaknesses, our weaknesses need to be presented in such a manner that they do not appear our weakness. Okay, like if I can give you an example, I can explain this with the help of an example. Like supposing I have to tell you that I am a student and I score good marks in science and low marks in maths. So that means I am weak in maths. So what I will be telling, I will not say that I am weak in maths, I will say I am more interested in science and I am a little less interested, I need to develop my interest in maths. So that will cover everything. We do not need to say that I am weak in maths, I need to develop, cultivate more interest in mathematical equations, or I need to work upon my maths. So this is how we present, so that they should not appear to be our weakness. Then the next point is be authentic and genuine. Means whatever you tell, it has to be genuine, it has to be true. That means we cannot just tell lies when we are introducing, because there is a very famous saying that the earth is round. So somewhere at some point we meet those people, the same people again, and at that time sometimes it becomes a matter of shame if we have spoken lies, because truth always remains the same and lies we tend to forget. And if we are in the habit of telling lies, we lie to so many people that it becomes difficult to remember that to what person I have told what. So that is why be truthful, be genuine. The next is practice and rehearse. Means if in a professional scenario, if you have to give your self-introduction, if you have to introduce yourself, then always practice and rehearse, because it is generally in today's scenario, if you are going for any job also and you have to give a presentation, so in that case also, while giving a presentation also, you will need to introduce yourself. So for that, practice and rehearse beforehand. If you are a student and you have to take admission in a school or a college, then wherever you go, the first day is the introductory day. Means everybody is asked to introduce himself or herself. So it needs a lot of practice and rehearse. Be prepared and answer questions. So it is that generally be prepared. Anybody can ask, okay, you have this hobby, so what do you do for this hobby? Okay, you have this achievement, how did you achieve? So such questions can be asked, like if the people across, they might try to assess you, or they might be simply interested in what you are saying. So in both the cases, you need to be well prepared so that you can answer your questions well when the questions are asked. So these are the points which we need to keep in mind while preparing or crafting a self-introduction. Now we are going to discuss about the key elements. What are the key elements of self-introduction? The key elements, the first one is greeting. The greeting means start with a polite greeting. Means whenever you are introducing yourself, you have to greet the person across, and the greeting can be, if it is in a professional background, the greeting can be good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And if it is in the case of a social setting, then it has to be hi, it has to be hello, how are you doing? These are the simple words in which we can greet. Then the second point is name. Clearly articulate your name. Means you have to tell your name very clearly. You have to be very specific and in very clear tone, so that it reaches across. Sometimes a person has a very typical name, or sometimes the names are uncommon. Like I can give you my example itself. My name is Vandana Vig. I am Dr. Vandana Vig. So Vig is not a very common surname. So most of the people, they tend to misinterpret. Some of them they will call me Witch, some of them they will call me something else. So in that case, if I don't articulate clearly my name as well as my surname, then the people get confused. Then the next is background. Means briefly we have to mention our background. Means which background we relate to. Means our personal or our professional. So that again there is a bifurcation, means in professional settings we have to focus more on the in professional settings we have to focus more on the professional background, and in personal settings we have to tell a little more about our personal background. But then also it is not that we start with my name is, I went to this school, I was born here, I was brought up in this school, and I had these hobbies, I had these siblings, my mother is a housewife, my father is a government officer. No, not to that extent. We need to decide only the important information, only the relevant information we need to give. We don't need to exaggerate things that for 15 minutes to 20 minutes it is our self-introduction going on. So self-introduction has to be short, clear and concise. Next is that we have to focus on the current role, means we have to describe what at the current scenario, means while giving the introduction what I am doing. Like if I am working in a college, then I will be saying that I am working as a professor in Tirthankar Mahavir University. Okay, or if I am at a personal level, if I am other case, if I am a homemaker, then I will say that I am a homemaker. So we have to be specific, means if maybe before marriage or just after my marriage I was working and currently I am not working, so I don't need to specify like yes 10 years earlier I was working and I was in this company and I was working doing this and that. No, that doesn't require. That is only if somebody is interested, the person will raise a question and then we can answer. So specifically we have to stick to the current role, whatever we are doing currently. Then the purpose, means explain why you are introducing yourself. Yes, like if I am going for a job interview, I want to switch over the job, I am going for a job interview, so there in front of the panel I have to introduce myself. Then my self introduction would be different, and I need to specify that this is the purpose, as I am introducing myself. Okay, because I have applied for this job. So I need to specify the purpose for which the introduction has to be given, and that purpose needs to be associated with whatever you are doing, whatever action you are doing that day. Like supposing I I have a guest lecture. So when I am going for that for the presentation of my guest lecture, there I will introduce myself and then I will tell them that yes, this is the reason I am here for and this is my topic I will be speaking upon. Then after this, after the purpose, it is closing. Means we need to always end with a polite closing. Okay, thank you for a patient hearing, thank you for listening to me, thank you for paying attention. So these are some polite phrases which need to be used when we close, when we finish our self-introduction. Now I am going to one by one, I am going to focus on the elements of self-introduction. Like this I said, it is the first one is the greeting. The first and the foremost element is greeting. So it is like the first thing what we say is, if we meet somebody in the morning, it's good morning. If we meet somebody in the afternoon, it is good afternoon. And if we meet somebody in the evening, it's good evening. Right? So these are the three things at the professional scale. Now if we are meeting somebody in the social context, then it's hi, how are you doing? Hello, how are you? Or it can be simply we can just wave at them also. We can wave and we can greet them. But that is only at the social platform. Now choose the level of, we have to choose the level of formality based on the context and audience. Means we have to think, like if I am presenting a guest lecture to my audience, obviously I would prefer to wish them time wise, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, something like that. I would not like to say hi, hello to them. So we have to be very specific about the context. But if I am in a party and if I am meeting I meet some neighbor or I meet some social acquaintance, then I can always say hi, how are you? hello, how are you doing? So these can be the ways how I can speak. So it depends upon the formality, the relation, means how formal your relation is. If your relation is informal, hi, hello will do. But if in the social context also, if your relation is formal, then you can, how are you doing? That will be hello, how are you doing? That will be better. So now the next element is stating your name. Stating your name means how you tell about your name. That is, first of all, you have to speak very, very clearly, because I told you there are certain names which are uncommon. There are certain names which are overly common. So people tend to mix, get confused. So we need to be very, very clear about our name. Then second thing is the repetition, means if necessary then only repeat. Otherwise repetition is not required. If required, repeat your name to ensure it to be only, you need to repeat your name only when you want the other person to understand, because looking at the other person, if you feel that the person has not understood, then you can repeat your name. And another very important tip is that we need, in the formal background, we need to speak our full name with our designation, like I am Dr. Vandana Vig. So wherever I will be going in the professional scenario, I will be always introducing myself Dr. Vandana Vig. It's not only Vandana, it's not only Vandana Vig, it's not only Dr. Vandana, it's always Dr. Vandana Vig. Sharing your background. Yeah, first is, before explaining the purpose, it is sharing your background, means we have to tell about our background also. At the personal level, the place which I belong to, where do I belong to, what I have been doing, my achievements, that is what I will be explaining. I will be sharing about my background. So that is means relevance, means about my background, means relevant details. Only we have to include the relevant details that are pertinent to the situation, means in the scenario, means supposing I am working in a college. So what I have been doing 10 years, 20 years ago, okay, that's not required. What at present I am doing in my college, what role and responsibilities I am holding, so that is something which I need to mention. And otherwise, if required, we need to mention only the recent past, not the long past. It's only not the history past. It is only the recent past, maybe this job or maybe prior job if required. Otherwise, the present scenario only will suffice. Then the second is the second point is conciseness. Means we have to keep our introduction very, very brief. There are no long things we need to practice, no long detailed information. Long and detailed information is not required. It has to be brief and concise, means as less words as possible. Means it should be short and it should be to the point. That is the aim of a self-introduction. Means people are not there to sit and listen to long introductions, means you are telling the full history of your working history or your life history. Nobody is interested in that. Then the next point that we need to discuss is the next are the examples that we have to mention our educational qualifications. We have to mention our experience. That's all. Then the next is describing your current designation, current job, current scenario, whatever you are doing currently, that is something we need to describe. Means the job title. What is my job title? What job I am holding? Like I am working as professor and at Timett College, which is which is a part of TMU, that is Tirthankar Mahavir University. So I am a professor here, that is my job title. So that is something which I need to tell. Then I can even discuss a little about my roles and responsibilities, means which classes I am taking care of, what are the other responsibilities I am sharing of the institute. So that all can be mentioned. Then the next is the responsibilities. I have already discussed that what responsibilities I am sharing, and then what I can mention the organization or the company, just the way I told you that I am working with Tirthankar Mahavir Institute of Management and Technology, which is associated with Tirthankar Mahavir University, or which is a part of Tirthankar Mahavir University. So this much information is required. So our next is explaining your purpose. Explaining your purpose. So my purpose means, what is the purpose of what is the context, why I need to give an introduction. If I am talking about, let's say I have to give a guest lecture, alright, so I will be introducing myself, and in that introduction I need to tell people like the number of years of experience I am in this field, means how much work I have done on that particular that particular topic, the topic which I have chosen to give my lecture on. So that part is required. Then next point is goals. So goals means we need to first define our own goals, that what is the purpose of our self introduction, what is the goal which I need to achieve when I am introducing myself. I want the other person to know me, I want to, or I want the other person to have a good impression about me, or at the professional level when I am introducing myself, I need to make an impact on my colleagues or on my seniors. So this depends upon what is my goal. So accordingly we design our self introduction. Then it is connections, means explain how you can be of value or how you can be of value or relevance to the listener. Means we need to tell this, we need to highlight this, that how I can be of use, how can I be of importance to the listener. Means specifically in the professional background, means like if I have joined a new venture, if I have joined a new organization, I need to tell like this thing I have done, this is my experience, these are my qualifications, this is my experience, this is my professional background, and what help I can be of to that particular organization. And second thing is like in the personal background also, I need to create an impact on the other person. So this is about now next is closing the introduction, means how we close the introduction, how we will be able to close the introduction. Means it is invite further interaction, means we can invite, like we can wait for the other person, yes, like there can be one sentence, yes, if anyone wants to ask anything, if anyone wants to know anything, so about me or about my work, I am ready to give you an answer. If you want to know anything more, you can ask me. So this is the way how we can close our introduction, means closing our introduction with an openness, means people are open to ask further questions if in case anyone is interested. Then politeness, means we need to thank the people, like thank you very much for listening to us. I'm glad that you heard to me, all of you heard to me with such passion, or I am grateful to you for giving me a patient hearing. So all these things, all these are the ways how we can close, with politely we can close our introduction. Then contact information, we need to give our contact information also, we need to give our details also, in case anyone needs to contact us in future. That is specifically when we have gone to give a presentation or a guest lecture or a presentation to any place, then at that point this in that situation this point becomes all the more important, so that if people they want more lectures from your end, people want to invite you for more presentations, or if you have on your organization's behalf, if you have gone anywhere else, then also people come to know about you. So the contact details, the phone number, the details are important to mention. Now next is crafting a personal self-introduction. Crafting a personal self-introduction means, in the beginning of the class I had told you that we'll be discussing self-introduction at two arenas. First is the personal introduction and the professional introduction. The key points are almost the same, but there is a little differentiation while presenting the information, because in the professional level we are going to stick to the profession. We are going to stick about our experience, our academic qualifications, our professional qualifications, the achievements and the roles and the responsibilities I have shouldered till now in different organizations, the things I have mastered, the courses I have done. All these will come under the category of professional introduction. But when we come to the personal introduction will refer to the hobbies, my interests, where I was born, what I have done, all those things. Who is my father, who is my mother, what is my age, my hometown, all those things will come in the category of personal introduction. So the personal introduction will always have a personal touch, means when we add whatever information we add, means it is a unique element about, we need to add a unique element about our own self. Like supposing if I am telling about myself, it has to be something different. Yes, I belong to Agra, and Agra is the city of Taj, or I hope all of you know about Agra, the city of Taj. So maybe if I am giving an introduction, people would remember me. Maybe they forget my name, but they will remember me that yes, she was a lady who belonged to the city of Taj. So I am just giving you an example. It's not that we have to tell or any unique feature of my own, anything. Then after the personal touch, it is the hobbies, means I need to tell about my hobbies or interests, means what are my hobbies, what I am interested in, whether I am interested in listening to music, or I am interested to reading books, or I am interested in social service, or I am interested in playing games like badminton or chess. So though they have a positive impact, they highlight the versatility of a person's personality. So we need to tell about, I need to tell about my hobbies and my interests, and then we have to create a balance, means ensure it complements the profession aspect of your introduction, means even at the personal level. Like if I am a teacher, it would be good, it would be very impressive if at personal level, if I am giving my introduction, I would tell people like, yes, I have the habit of reading books, I have the habit of, I am interested in writing books, I am interested in in giving guest lectures, I am interested in conducting workshops. So this will be something which will be complementing my professional life also. So these are the things which we keep in mind. Then means we have to create a balance. Now we will see crafting a professional introduction, means when we craft an introduction at the professional level. What are the key points that we need to keep in mind when we craft an introduction for the professional level? That is, in professional means for the professional level, we need to focus, emphasize my career. I need to emphasize my career, my skills, my achievements, my experience. Whatever I have been doing, I am associated with which field, like I am associated with the field of education. Then I can say that I have an experience of 28 years and catering to the students at different levels. That is, I have taught students at the school level, and I have taught students at the college level. So I have an expansive experience, and apart from that I have 7 years experience at the administrative level also. So this is how I can tell about myself. Then it is industry, means we can use jargons related to the industry. Like if I am a teacher, if I am a teacher, specifically the language which I will be using, it will be different from the common language. I will be talking about, like I am talking about my class test, I am talking about my exam, I am talking about my means the presentations, the PPTs and all these things, means something which is related to my field. So generally when people talk about self introduction, they can utilize, they can use the words, they can use the jargons of their field. Jargons, I hope every one of you understand, jargons are the technical words that are associated to a particular field. So if the person is of medical field, obviously he will be telling about, like, I am from the field of gynecology, or I am from the field of gastroenterology, or I am from nephrology. So these are the words which are unknown to the common man, and not these only, there are more words, there are more technical words which a person can use of their own field. So that creates a good impact, that creates a good impression on the listener. Then after this, it is professional tone, means our tone should be professional. It shouldn't be over friendly, like it's not that we are talking to our friends. At the professional level, we need to restrict our words, our language should be brief, our language should be formal, it should be brief and concise. We cannot tell stories or sing songs, isn't it? So it has to be very brief, concise, to the point, and the language has to be formal. So completely professional tone, means professional tone is, what do we understand by the professional tone? It is assertive, means we cannot be overly polite and we cannot be very rude. We cannot be nervous, we cannot be overconfident. So the middle part is assertive. So assertively we can speak. So that is a professional tone. Then the next is professional focus. That means we need to emphasize upon our career. We need to emphasize upon our achievements, whatever I have done in my life till now, how my career has molded, how my career has shaped, and I have reached to this particular position. Then after this, industry jargons. Obviously I told you, like the technical jargons, the industry jargons, whatever we have learned, means that demonstrate, when using the industry jargons or the technical words, they emphasize upon the control, means they emphasize how a person is so much engrossed in his or her field. It creates a good impression. Then professional tone, this we have discussed, that our tone has to be professional. Now next point is tailoring to your audience. Means tailoring to your audience means our self introduction, means when we are introducing ourselves, that introduction should be crafted keeping in mind the audience, who our audience are. Like the way I am speaking in English with you, if I have to give a presentation in a village, if I go to the village and I speak, I give my introduction in English, will that be useful? Will that be of importance? Will that be impactful? No, not at all, because the people in the village, they might not be able to understand me because of the language difference. Now second example, let's talk about learned people only, educated people only. Like if I am a person who belongs to an engineering background, so when I go to the when I go to the medical field, I use technical words of my particular field. So the people at the medical level, the people are from the medical background, they might not be able to understand, or the people from the teaching background, they might not be able to understand what I am trying to speak. So the focus should be that our introduction should be customized according to the audience we are catering Then the second point here is obviously yes, customization, which I have discussed in the first point only, that our introduction can be adjusted to the place where we are going according to our audience. Means the things will remain the same, only some technical words, the technical words, like I said, I belong to an engineering field and I use jargons in my introduction, so I need to simplify those words and my introduction would be fit for any audience, any literate audience. So that is how we customize our introduction. Then engagement. Engagement is use questions or comments to engage the audience. Means raise questions about your question. Do you know this? Can you guess? Can you tell me something? Can you guess? Can you think of what I would have done? So these kind of things, if you will, if we will use these kind of things, what will happen? The people will be more interested to listen. So that is means it will be engaging for the people. We will be engaging the audience also to our presentation. The next is practicing your introduction. Our next point is that we need to practice whatever we are going to say. I told you, I had mentioned it in the beginning only, that whenever we are, whether it is a small presentation or whether it is a long presentation, we need to practice. Practice plays a very important role in the successful presentation of anything. Means if I have to present a lecture to my students, if I go raw hand, obviously the impact will not be up to the mark. If I prepare my lecture and if I deliver my lecture, obviously it will be more interesting, it will be more impressive and more impactful. So we all have heard a saying, a proverb which says, practice makes a man perfect. So the more you practice, the more perfection you get. Means once you learn a thing, then you practice, and once you practice, during your practice you can make innovations, you can make changes and make it more impressive. So practice plays a very important role. So for practice, it is, the first is rehearse. We have to rehearse, we have to speak again. How do we rehearse? Yes, we have to rehearse means whatever we have to say. It is, we can stand in front of a mirror and we can practice it. We can speak again and again and again. So that way we can keep a tab on our expressions, our body language also. Then second thing is, we can record whatever we are saying. If we can record, then we can understand our tone. Means we are not rude, we are not loud, we are not fast, the pace we are moving at. So we can gauge all these things. And the best would be if we can make any neighbor, any friend, any family member to sit in front of us, and if we give if we can introduce ourselves to them, we can present ourselves to them. So they will be able to help us. They can tell us that what are the places where correction is required, whether I am going very fast or whether I am going very slow, whether my tone is very polite, overly polite, or whether my tone is of rudeness. So they will be able to guide. And the last but not the least, or I think, but I might say that it is the most important, that if giving a presentation, if we are able to get a video recording done, because if the video recording is done, then everything will be clear. Our voice also, our tone also, our body language, our eye contact, everything, means verbal as well as non-verbal cues can be gauged, and accordingly we can make a difference and we can make it more impressive. Then next is feedback. Feedback is very important, because from feedback only we come to know that what are the shortcomings, what are the things that we need to improve, what are the emphasizing points. Yes, so if I can make somebody sit in front of me before giving a presentation, the person can tell me that where I am lacking, which points, which places I need to improve myself, where I am going over fast, where my pace is fast or my tone is different. So, or my body language means how my body language is being reflected. So, all these things can be gauged. All these things can be monitored by the feedback, means whether my introduction appears to be impressive or not, whether it's going bland or it's going impressive. So these things I'll be able to know by the feedback which I receive from the person whom I have asked the person to sit across and listen to me, make my presentation or introduction more effective. Then I am using the word presentation here because here self introduction is also a form of presentation which we are giving. And next is adjustment. So we can make adjustment according to based on the feedback that I receive, means I can change accordingly, means where I need to improve upon. Now another important part which needs to be focused, another important point that needs to be focused in introduction is the non-verbal communication. The non-verbal communication, what is non-verbal communication? In the class of communication we have already discussed once that non-verbal communication is the communication which is not done by my words, which is not done by my tone, but it is when I speak, yes, partially it is there, but more of my body language means, and in body language it is my eye contact, my hands, my leg movements, my hands and leg movements, then my body posture, and then my head movement also, that how much I am moving my head, and my posture, whether I am slooping or whether I am standing erect, or whether I am able to maintain an eye contact. I can look directly into the eyes of the other person, or I am looking sideways here and there, and that sideways, not looking directly at the other person, that is a sign of nervousness. So this is what is non-verbal communication. And non-verbal communication, it is also about the tone, means my tone, means whatever I am speaking, whether my tone is rough, whether my tone is weak, whether I am harsh, whether I am confident, overconfident, or I am lacking confidence. All these things can be judged by the tone in which I speak. And I always tell you, in the professional world, the tone that we follow has to be assertive. Assertive means polite, but you stick to your point. So here in non-verbal communication, our body language, I have already discussed that we have to maintain our positive body language. I cannot go slooping, means I am bending forward, or I am overly erect. No, I have to follow a normal, smart, attentive posture. Then the second point here is tone of voice. I just discussed that my tone should not be overly polite and my tone should not be overly rude. Means I have come, whatever, if I have come to introduce myself, if I have come here to tell something, means whatever, my facial expressions need to match with the information which I am giving. Means sometimes I have seen people with a stoic look. Okay, so with a stoic look means the person across is unable to understand that whether the person is, what the person is speaking, whether the person is happy, whether the person is sad. I can give you an example to explain the stoic look, that is the expression on the face of the news readers. Means you can never say, you cannot look, by looking at them, you cannot make out that whether they are delivering whether they are sharing an information which is a happy news, or whether they are sharing an information which is a sad news, whether an accident has taken, lot of casualties have taken place, or it is a happy news that where the country has won, the Indian team has won a cricket match. So at both the places their expression is bland. Okay, so that kind of expression should not be there. So our expression should match, our facial expression should match the information that we are trying to give. Now Another important point which I would like to focus here is handling nervousness. Means most of us, most of the people tend to get nervous. They tend to get nervous when they have to present themselves or when they have to speak in front of a group of people or large number of audience, whosoever. So some people are shy by nature, some people are nervous by nature, and some people are lack confidence. So these people, they are not comfortable when they have to speak. Means in a friend, in a group of 1, 2, 3 friends, they can be very they can speak very positively, they can express themselves, but the moment they come into any social group, they come into any group, they will be quiet, they won't be able to express themselves. So here it is very important to see that how we can handle nervousness when we are introducing, because when I am introducing myself to somebody, I go to a company and to an organization giving an interview, or if I go to give a guest lecture, and there if I am nervous, I am not able to introduce myself properly, people will be least interested to listen. The one thumb rule which I have learnt from in my long teaching experience, that is that if I lack confidence, if I lack interest in what I have to say, people will be least interested. They will not at all. So first, to make an impressive presentation, the most important key factor is that I have to take interest, I have to show enthusiasm, and if I have enthusiasm, I have the interest, I will be successful in creating interest of my audience. So this shows the importance, this highlights the importance of my point, that is handling nervousness. Handling nervousness, the first and the foremost thing, if I think that I get nervous when I have to speak in front of people, okay, so the most important part is that I need to prepare myself. I need to prepare, take a lot of time, means I need to rewrite whatever I have to speak, and then practice a lot. And just as I had discussed in the previous slide, that I need to take feedback and practice a lot, rehearse a lot, take feedback from the people, and if there are any shortcomings, I need to overcome those shortcomings. Practice makes a man perfect, right? So obviously I can perfect my imperfections by practice. Then the second is breathing techniques. Breathing techniques means if I get nervous anywhere, then immediately I need to take a deep breath, calm myself. Taking a deep breath and calming myself, obviously I will gain my confidence. I can release the nervousness out of me. So breathing technique is also very important. Take a deep breath, take a break for a second, take a deep breath, compose yourself, and then start speaking. Then the next is positive visualization. That is very, very important, and I strongly believe in this. Positive visualization is something, means in today's world, positive attitude. We know it by the name positive attitude. Means we have to keep a positive attitude. Yes, I will do it. Yes, I have written the exam, I will clarify. Yes, I have given the presentation, it will be liked by people. Yes, I will do it. That is the positive attitude. So here we have to have a positive visualization. Means before giving the presentation, I have to visualize that I am giving the presentation and the people are liking it. People are getting impressed. People have a positive impact of that on them. My presentation has a positive impact. Yes, I am giving my self introduction and people are impressed by it. So that is called positive visualization. Means before giving only, when we visualize that we have been successful, that is called positive visualization. And this positive visualization, it is very important because I specifically believe in it, because positivity attracts positivity and negativity tends to attract negativity. So if we are positive, everything is going to be positive. Yes. So our next focus means common mistakes that we need to avoid. Our next point, our next slide is about common mistakes to avoid. Means what are the mistakes that we need to avoid while giving a presentation. So the first and the foremost thing is avoid lot of information. Don't put lot of information in your introduction. Only give the information that is required. And I had discussed beforehand also that our introduction has to be brief, it has to be concise, and it has to be impressive. Then the next is avoid reiterating. Another thing which we need to say is avoid reiterating the information that is there in our resume or CV. Like supposing the professional background, if I have gone to give my introduction to somebody, then I have to give my self introduction. Then I cannot just keep on reiterating or keep on repeating the information that is there in my CV. I need to write less things in my CV, so that gives me an opportunity to speak more, to tell about myself. I need to explain myself. So I have said that we need not to reiterate the things that are already mentioned in the CV. Then another point which we need to understand is that we should refrain ourselves from asking certain questions like, what do you want to know about me? So like this thing should be strictly avoided. Means if you are going for an interview, and in the professional settings, if you are going for an interview and there you have to introduce yourself. So if you ask a question like this, what do you want to know about me? So that will create a very negative impact, as the person across will lose all interest, and sometimes it appears to be very rude also. Third important point is that we need to refrain ourselves, we need to stop ourselves from telling long tales and stories to discuss a particular trait. Like if I say that yes, I love swimming, okay, and then I start, listen, when I went for swimming and I was very nervous, but then now slowly and gradually I have improved my swimming skills, and now I am the best, wherever I go I improve the best swimmer. So these kind of stories at the personal background, at the personal level, the person across might not be interested in. So we have to stop ourselves from telling these stories. And another important point is which I am repeating again and again, that self introduction has to be brief, it has to be concise, and it has to be to the point. Then the points here is like overloading of information. That is the points which I have mentioned is overloading of information. Means we cannot tell, means it is not that we have to tell a lot. Means if I have an experience of 28 years, obviously I would have worked in my 28 years of experience, I would have worked in around different organizations. So when I am introducing myself, I don't need to tell about each and every organization which I have worked with. Yeah, I have to make it brief, I have to keep it short and concise, brief and concise. So I can highlight the present, the current position where I am working, current organization where I am working, I have been working, and I can just mention about the different designations where I have worked about. So I think that will be sufficient. Then second is lack of focus. Lack of focus means stay on the topic and avoid moving away from the topic. Means whatever you are sticking to, means if I am talking about my hobbies and interests, then I cannot speak about my academic qualifications. Yes, I did my PhD, I did my MPhil, I took my MPhil degree from here, or I did my post graduation. No, it's not that. So we have to stick to the particular point which we are discussing. The next point here is means simple. The language has to be very simple. The language that I will be speaking means it has to be it has to be simple, and we have to avoid negative language. Means the negative language means I cannot say, as I told you, I had discussed prior in one of my slides, I had discussed that I don't need to tell about my weaknesses. Means I have to present my weaknesses also in the manner that they appear to be strengths. So I have to avoid all kind of negative information. I only have to be positive and I have to affirm. Now I'll be focusing on two examples of effective introduction, and these two examples are, the first example is professional setting introduction, and the second example is the casual or social setting introduction. So in the professional setting introduction, it is like the examples are here very much on the screen. Means the context means the context in which I have to introduce yourself. Means whether I have it is at a team meeting, or it is a team meeting, or in a new job. So if means the context in which I have, the example which I have given you, it is in the context that I am a team member and I have to introduce myself in a team meeting in a new job. So it is like, good morning everyone, my name is, so whatever my name is, and I am excited to join the team as a, whatever my position is, whatever position I am joining my team, I need to write that. I bring so many years, whatever years of experience, I bring the dash years of experience in whatever my field is. Like I just said that I bring 28 years of experience in the education field. So here whatever your experience is, you can write about that. Then having worked on projects involving, so whatever I have to give a brief history about the projects that I have been involved in, and we have to mention all the relevant experiences. Then I am particularly passionate about, so I have to be very specific, like I am particularly, like if I tell about myself, if I give my example, it is I have 28 years of experience in the education field, and I am very particular about my academics. Means I am particular about my specification, or my passion is about academics, means teaching the students. In the education field there are different arenas where we can work upon, but my specification, my expertise is in the academic sector. So that you need to mention. Then, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you. I look forward to collaborating with all of you to achieve our goals. In my previous role as, so here I need to mention my previous role, whatever role was, and I need to mention the company also. I briefly mention a significant achievement also, means whatever achievement I have done, and I hope to bring similar success here. Thank you for the warm welcome, and I am eager to get started. So I need to mention, means if I have any achievement to my credit, then I need to mention that achievement, and I also need to mention that I will bring such achievements or more than that to the company. So this was first thing. Now the second example is of a casual introduction. Means the casual introduction, casual or social setting introduction means when I have to introduce myself in a social setting. That means when I go to a party, or when I go to some social gathering, and there I need to introduce myself. So that kind of introduction will be entirely different from what we have given, the introduction which we have given at the professional status. That is, first is, hi, I am. So I will be telling my name. Hi, I am. It is great to meet you. So the person across, whomsoever I am, it is great to meet you all. I am a friend of, means you can take the name of the host, because when you have come to the party there might be other guests also, there are other invitees also. So you can tell your relation, like I am the brother of the host, or I am the friend of the host, or I am the neighbor of the host. You can take the name of the host also. And we met. So you can say that we met. How you know the host, that is, just now I said that whether you are a relative of the host, or you are neighbor, or you are friend of the host, you need to mention that. Then I work as, means I can tell that I work as a professor at TMU. So I need to tell about my profession, a little about my profession. And in my free time, because I don't need to go deep inside my profession, I just need to tell that I am a working lady and my profession is this. And in my free time I love, means mention about your hobbies or your interests, whatever you are interested to do, into whatever your hobbies, whatever your interests are. And if anyone wants to know a little more about your hobbies, or if they want to chat about anything else, they can ask you. So then you can say, I am all, if anyone wants to know more about me, I am all ears. Means if anyone wants to know about my hobbies, or anyone wants to know about me, I am all ears, means I am ready to listen and I am ready to answer your questions. Like looking forward to getting to know everyone, means looking forward to getting to know everyone. So we can end our question here. Now one example I have even quoted for self-introduction for students, that how students can give a self-introduction, how students can introduce, because I come across many students and they have a lot of problem introducing themselves. So this is a perfect example of self-introduction. You can just fill in your information and this you can use wherever you want. So the self-introduction is, hello everyone, my name is, means you have to tell about your name, and I am currently pursuing, means whatever you are pursuing, whatever you are pursuing, like if you are pursuing BCom, you are pursuing BBA, you are pursuing MBA, whatever you are pursuing the degree in, means whatever subject you have. At means the university of the college or the college you are associated with. You have to mention that. I have a strong passion for, means I have a strong passion for, that means related to your field of interest, means where you are interested in, what you like to do in your free time, whatever. You need to add that field, which has driven me to excel academically and engage in a various extracurricular activities, means something which has motivated you in your academics also, and which has motivated you towards your academic your extracurricular activities also. In addition to my studies, I am activity involved in, means here you need to tell your interest, your hobbies or other activities where you are involved in, means whatever you are doing, whether you are involved in some clubs, or you are involved with some NGO, or you are involved with some sports activities, whatever you are interested in, you need to mention those here. Any organization or project you are part of, you need to mention these. These experiences have helped me develop skills in, means you can even say that what benefit you have gained associating yourself with some NGO or with some social club or with any other activity. You need to mention that. But here the skills you need to mention, they need to be relevant, such as means you can even say that working together or joining an NGO, I have cultivated or I have developed teamwork, or I have developed leadership skills, or I have improved my communication skills. So you need to mention those, but those need to be genuine, because you can be tested upon that. So also I had mentioned that when you are talking about your self-introduction, you have to be genuine, you have to be 100% honest, because you can be asked questions about that. Then outside of academics, I enjoy. So whatever you enjoy, you need to mention that, which allows me to stay balanced and bring a fresh perspective to my studies. Because if you are interested in games, then those games, they can freshen you up, they can energize you, they can refresh your mind, so that you can mention. Then I am excited about the opportunities ahead and look forward to contributing to and learning from this vibrant academic community. Thank you. So this is all about my self-introduction, the example of self-introduction, and this is all about my today's session. I hope you all have understood. Thank you very much.